one area that you guys do debate a bit on, and this will be the last debate, and then we'll finish with some things we all agree on. HVDC lines. So one fundamental thing that you guys have discussed, and I kind of already have some of your answers from some of the weather stuff, but the TLDR, as Casey says, solar storage gets so cheap. Most things are local. Maybe you have like, local transmission or whatever, but like we're not going to need the HVDC lines. Mez is much more in the camp of no, HVDC lines are still on a cost curve and we can, better deal with weather, and we should have continent scale grids. And then eventually, I'm going to put words in your mouth here, but a Buckminster Fuller style global grid.
I mean, yeah, big government statist says he just wants to strengthen eminent domain.
No, I think would under my
I'm
control.
shocked we haven't seen eminent domain.
No,
yet,
I'd say, look, here's what I'd say. Like, you have problems in various parts of the world, and they're not the U.S. Southwest or Mexico or MENA or even India, but you have problems in various parts of the world that are defined by these, long cloudy stretches in winter, and the fact that we're going to electrify that heating load, where you got to do something. And so what I was saying earlier was, hey, getting to 80% decarbonization is, you can do a whole lot. That's 80% of the way. But when you start talking about, I want to get to 3 nines, 4 nines of reliability of the grid and all of it clean, then you start needing, I think the most economic path is something other than solar and batteries as we have them today. And a macro grid, a continent scale grid, and you really don't need to go beyond one continent for the most part, but a continent sized grid is for one of the tools.
That's very convenient, right? Just what a coincidence that it just so happens that the quality of our technology in 2025 exactly matches the continental scale of the United States.
No, it would be actually awesome. Like if you could go economically cross-continent, and certainly people are trying. I think it benefits Europe the most. The U.S. has a pretty good sunlight in the Southwest, is why you don't really need to worry about it, and we have a great wind resource in the Great Plains. But so you end up needing to do something, and that something is, in Jesse Jenkins' words, you can call it clean firm. It can be fission, it can be fusion, it could be advanced geothermal that you can site in more places. It could be chemical storage, it could be new generations of batteries like iron air, or it can be transmission. And so you've got like some variety of axes to move on, but I don't see us getting to a reliable grid that's 100% solar and batteries by itself without you hit the cost of that last couple nines goes like this is what it looks like. And so you end up having to want to do something else. And so the reason I'm Casey and I were just arguing about nuclear policy online. And look, I'm pretty skeptical about
We're just engagement farming, just so you know.
So, come follow us both.
He runs my account half the time.
They love each other deep down.
But it's look, I'm actually a skeptic on fission. Like I'm depressed, and I think that the nuclear industry in the U.S. sucks, if I'm completely honest. But I'm also somebody who believes that if you want to decarbonize, I believe in some humility about energy futures, even though I've been largely right about things. And I'm like, let's put multiple chips on the table, because some of them are going to fail. So we should invest. I think SMRs have a lot of problems. Let's invest in SMRs. I think big scale reactors, the industry could be fixed if we did the right things. Let's invest too. We've got 55 fusion startups. Awesome. Obviously at least 52 of those are going to go bankrupt, and maybe all 55. I don't know. Let's invest in those as well. Let's do Quays and Fervo and Ever on geothermal, and 5 more if we can find them. And let's do iron air batteries and whatever. Let's put them all down, because at the end of the day, those, especially the early stage investments, and let's spend $100 billion here, $1 billion there, or $10 million here to get somebody started, are tiny compared to the scale of the challenge and the scale of overall global energy spending. So let's do it.
Yeah, I disagree.
Yes.
I'll tell you why. It is true the United States is ridiculously rich. So it's not so much that we're capital constrained in our ability to hand out $100 million checks to be try this, try that. But we are labor constrained. We are talent constrained, right? How many brilliant people are now spending their lives working on stuff doesn't matter. This is the thing that I hate most about
by far the
what
most.
NASA's been doing, right? They've spent decades and decades wasting brilliant engineers on pointless stuff. Okay, so when it comes to grid transmission and batteries and stuff, I just kind of looked at the math and I was like, well, these are actually the same kind of thing, right? Transmission is moving power through space and batteries moving power through time. Now, how do they compete? What is the marginal cost per kilowatt hour delivered, here and there and everywhere? And this became clear that if you're in this situation where every year the battery factories are churning out more batteries and your per capita allocation of batteries is increasing and more people are getting more batteries, that they're directly competing against transmission. And because transmission is a very high upfront cost and then a long period of amortization, and in particular with renewables, you need a long distance to get decorrelated weather. That that like batteries are actually like really strong position to compete here, because as batteries get cheaper, the distance you need to like the distance over which you can build a transmission line and even hope to make any money at all over, say, 20 years gets shorter and shorter, which means your decorrelation drops off. And eventually, like, it's pretty clear as a stranded asset. And when I first kind of dreamed this up 2 or 3 years ago and wrote a blog post about it, which was maybe less comprehensible than it should have been, I thought, well, I don't know, how do you test this? How do you test this in the wild? And then eventually I realized, well, battery deployments are growing 40% year over year and the grid is shrinking, right? The market has decided. And you can say, well, it's regulation this, regulation that. I've heard enough like blaming regulation stuff from nuclear bros to last me a lifetime. At the end of the day, if the civilization wants electricity, you have to get it somewhere or other. And it turns out that regulation does impose costs, and regulation exists because people like it that way. Like the reason the NRC is like heavy-handed about nuclear is because no one wants a nuclear reactor to melt down next to them. Fair enough. And so you could say, well, I imagine a great future where, like, I don't know, JD Vance, the second presidency of JD Vance is like, we're going to make absolute maximal eminent domain. Anyone who wants to build a DC power line can like basically like claim title across the entire country. We're going to crisscross it. We'll build high-speed rail while we're at it. I just don't think that that's a good allocation of resources, right? It's just like, it's a neat technology. Don't get me wrong. Like, I taught nuclear physics in Caltech. I'm not bigoted against any particular technology. It's just like, if I want a marginal kilowatt hour, the cheapest way of getting it today is batteries, and it's getting cheaper over time. It's not going to go the other way.
And I think like prima facie on the grid situation, like we're just not doing it. So for me, while I would love to see it, and I disagree on some of the stuff, and there's other stuff like reconductoring. Caitlin from Google talked about yesterday. Repowering AC corridors to DC is another like fairly cheap way and low reg way to do it. But we're not going to do these things, is what we're seeing.
Not
right
at scale.
now.
Like here and there, people will do them, and it makes a big to do about the fact, oh, we finally built a transmission line in Texas. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations.
But I still think the floor price of batteries as we know them today still causes this phenomenon of like the hockey stick of cost towards the end. So I'm still motivated around clean firm. Though I've made zero investments in clean firm myself because they're hard to invest
Revealed
in.
Preference, people.
It's like they're freaking hard and they're capital intensive. I wish I had invested in Fervo when I had the chance, actually. But I think we need to put chips on the table to like have alternatives.